Welcome and congratulations. You found the Satori Show with host Amy Satori, your spirit guide to the unseen world. Amy's ability to communicate with and interpret for spirits in that world is simply amazing. Her mission is to use this gift to help people understand what's happening in their life so they can take positive action to move forward. So let's tap into this unseen world together and discover what our friends and loved ones on the other side have to say about our health, love, relationships, our pets, our destiny, and so much more. I hope you'll join me, Kevin McDonald, as we delve into our lives and the world we live in right now on The Satori Show. And welcome to another podcast of The Satori Show, everyone. My name is Kevin McDonald, and along with Amy Satori, we have this podcast that we've created, and today we've got a very special guest and a very special podcast. So first, I'd like to introduce Amy, your host. Morning, Amy.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening.
Awesome. And would you like to take a moment to introduce our guest for the hour?
Yes, this is Christian Mauerer, and he's calling from, where are you? Southern California somewhere.
Yes, I'm in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, okay. So Christian is going to be talking about his journey as the divine masculine. So how do you know me, Christian?
Well, I met you through my travels across the United States because I'm originally from Germany, and I've met you in Boulder, and through Bentina's community, we've connected, and we've had a wonderful conversations around twin flames and, you know, the divine masculine, divine feminine. So that's what we're here today, to explore that topic and, you know, dive into that.
Awesome. So just so everybody, in case you haven't listened to my twin flame talks yet, the twin flames are kind of a magical thing. And it's all to aid in the ascension of the planet. And what happens is, there's a soul, and it goes into two different bodies, and oftentimes they have very different lifestyles. They live different lives. They have different beliefs, all kinds of things. And one of them is more masculine dominant, and the other is more feminine dominant. And as they come into harmony with their feminine and masculine sides, they come together, and they have a meeting. Not a meeting, but they connect, and it's kind of a catalyst of kind of a wow moment where you recognize something special about this person, and it's usually a really playful, innocent, kind, and incredible connection. And then the masculine kind of freaks out and runs away and rejects her and kind of says, "Oh my gosh, this is really scary. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. This isn't what I had planned. This isn't what I was thinking I was going to have." And they kind of run away. And that can be for any period of time. It can be a short separation, or it can be many years for some people. And during that separation period, both people work on their development and maturing process. And partially what happens is when they connect, it kind of shows them a little glimpse of possibility in their future. Subconsciously, it makes them really grow and expand into who they are meant to be. It helps them really blossom into their full potential. And then at some point along the journey, they come back together when they're more mature and more harmonized, and then they make a go of it, and they can usually make it stick if they're both taking personal responsibility, and they're, they come to a certain level of their development and maturity. So does this sound true for you, Christian?
Absolutely. That's pretty much what I went through in a very quick pace when I met my twin flame. Oh my gosh, what a ride. You're in for a ride. Whoever's looking or on a journey of finding the twin flame, you're in for a ride. And it's not going to be like what you expected. For sure not.
Yeah, so what were, in that first initial phase when you met her, what made her stand out? And tell me about the resistance that you went through with her.
So we actually met 1 year ago, pretty much 1 year ago, in February 2017. And it was at a Course in Miracles retreat. She was one of the speakers, and I was doing the live stream and the technical aspect of the retreat because I'm a little bit of like a nerd. And yeah, so it was really interesting because I'm a very outgoing person. But when she came in the room, she had some sort of presence for me that made me really shy and timid, like very, very reserved, which I usually am not. So I said hi to all the presenters, to everybody, but except for her. I didn't say hi to her. I just couldn't. I was really like shy. I felt like a little boy inside of me. And then on top of that, she was older than I was. She was around 40. She was around 40, and I was 25 back then. So that's 15 years.
Okay.
So that for me was another sort of like factor, or just a filter basically over my awareness that told me, this is probably not gonna work, because the ego is very quick at judging things and putting them aside, like putting them in a box and okay, that's not for me. But we have to learn that when we are on a twin flame journey, or in general when we are on the journey that is on a faster, accelerated speed in terms of spirituality or ascension, that things are not going to go the way we want to. They're not going to look like, our planned intellectual self lays them out for us, but they're going to be a lot different. And the reason why they're going to be different is so we can heal our judgment. Because the more we heal our judgment, the less we hold separation in our minds about other people, other places, in the universe in general, and the more we can cultivate a mindset of oneness. So twin flames oftentimes have a big age difference, or a big difference in form. It doesn't have to be, looks or age. Can also just be, behavioral, or just things that strike you very different from each other, like very contrasting personality sometimes. And the reason why that appears is so that each part of that twin flame can heal that relationship with itself.
Wow. That's pretty cool. So what about after you guys met, how did you overcome that shyness, or what did that cause in you? Was it the catalyst for you to do a bunch of self-reflection and growth?
So for me, it was so basically my thoughts in that period, in that initial getting to know acquaintance period, were very judgmental, sort of trying to shut her out, and it's not for me, she's too old, she's too tall, all these things. And but we have to learn that in order for us to go on a path of spiritual growth, we have to learn how to trust. And it's one of the hardest parts of our human existence, is to learn how to trust. And in the Course in Miracles, there's a quote that says, "Trust solves all problems," which is so true. If you truly trust, there's not a single problem in the world. But we're so conditioned to manipulate things, to have our agenda, to have our plan of how this symptom is going to go show up, and how we're going to, entice them to be with us, and, all these things. And we don't really trust, we don't really give it over. Just like Kevin mentioned at the beginning of the show, this Spirit's got this, And there's really not anything we have to worry about. And for me, that was just, I have to say I was in a very open space. I was in a sort of like transition period of my life where I was just like, I was very, very open. And that's one thing. If you are too certain about yourself or about your life, if you have it all laid out, if you're all planned out, like it's probably not going to happen. There has to be a space for the universe to come in, like a void that the universe can fill up and can bring that person into your life. And if you have it all, perfectly laid out how it's going to look like, then you don't allow the universe to have its own space and place in your life. So I was at a very, uncertain place in my life. I was, in between jobs, and I was signalizing the universe, okay, I'm still like ready again for a serious relationship. And I set intentions that I wanted to have, number one, I want to have, for my next partner, I want to have her, I want to have a romance with her. I wanted to have play with her. Play was very important for me because I'm a very serious person. And point number 3 was I really wanted to have someone I could do shadow work, I called it back then. So basically work with my ego, work with my judgment, work with things I haven't healed yet. So these were the 3 criteria that I sort of sent out even before I met, my twin flame. And I didn't expect it to show up in, that kind of way. I was like, yeah, she's too old, she's not blonde, she's taller than me, it's not gonna work, And but I was like, what do I know? What do I know? So so we got to know each other, and we decided to do some sort of a project together, because she was releasing a book, and I was helping her in terms of marketing and just organizing a book tour. And so we did that together, and that's how we got to know each other.
Wow. So you were able to set that stuff aside and see what was there. So
I mean, not really set it aside, but I still noticed it was there, But when you cultivate a certain level of mindfulness, you can observe things and you can ask, why does that show up? Why do I judge this person as, older, or certain qualities, which is not necessarily true, So with that awareness, I could heal these things I had in my mind and cultivate more of a mindset of oneness.
Wow. So, well, how did it advance from there? I mean, because I know you guys are at the point where you've got a baby coming. Congratulations.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So we
and you did get married.
Yes, our journey was very, very fast, and we after 2 months we met each other. So we met each other in February. I was back in Germany. We met here in the U.S. I was back in Germany for March. So we were separated for a month. And a month after that, in April, we got married. I proposed to her, which was an incredible story, because it was a week after her book launch. We did a bunch of work for that book launch, promote it, and do this and that. And then a week after book launch, we finally had time to relax. And that was, again, you create a space for spirit, for guidance to come in. So we finally let go of all of that, book promotion stuff. And we went to brunch here in Los Angeles, in Topanga Canyon, which is somewhere in the hills of Los Angeles. It's pretty, it's surrounded by trees and a lot of nature, so it's very beautiful.
Gorgeous.
A very scenic place. And so we drive up there, and I didn't pick the place that we're going to have brunch at. She said, oh no, this place, I've been there a couple of years ago, don't really remember when, it was a long time ago. And she was even driving, so I was like, wow, Spirit really has taken care of this. I didn't have to do anything. It just came to me. So we went to this place, we drove up these very hilly roads, and then we go into that place called the Inn at the 7th Ray, And Maria says, "Oh my gosh, like I'm hungry. I really need to eat. I'm ravenous." I said, "Yeah, sure, go ahead. It's buffet anyway, so it doesn't matter. We don't have to eat together. So go ahead, get your first plate." So she comes back with a plate full, loaded with lobster and crab legs and all that kind of good stuff. And then we sit there with our hands over the food, and I'm holding her hands actually, and we pray. We express our gratitude, and then after the prayer, I sit there in silence for 5 seconds, and I hear this voice that says, "Ask her, ask her." And inside myself, I was like, "What do you mean, ask her? I'm 25. I don't think about marriage. I don't know how to do this. I don't have a ring. I'm not prepared. What do you want?" And the voice just kept on saying, "Ask her, ask her." And I opened my eyes. I looked Maria in the eyes, and I said, "Maria, I just heard this voice, and it asked me to ask you, so I'm asking you." Do you want to be my wife? And she said yes. And that was another thing. Like, actually, before she said yes, she said, "Well, what about children?" And obviously, I'm 25. I'm a little bit, I love to be involved in the world. I'm a man. I love to manifest, make things happen in form. Create results and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, children. I mean, I don't have a problem with children. In about 1 or 2 years, like get to know each other. And she said, "No, I want children soon." And I said, "Well," I was like, "Yeah, sure, But that's another, like, that's like, I set that up for myself. That's another healing. Like, why do I have this judgment against, like, children? Why do I have the judgments against, like, me needing to provide and all these, like, old patterns of beliefs? Like, I have to provide, I have to make all the money, I don't have freedom when I have a child. It's like, these are all old beliefs that she helps me to heal as my twin flame and with that child. So I've manifested that for myself to heal even faster. And what are children than, the super ascension fast way to, spiritual growth. Children are our teachers. And this is really, for me, I mean, obviously in the first 2 months after, now we're pregnant, but the first 3 months I found out that we're pregnant, I was freaking out. It was like all these fish showed up again, money, freedom, what am I going to do? Like, this child is going to take away all my time. And it's just like all these things show up. And the question you have to ask yourself, why am I thinking these up? Is it true? No. It's just here to be healed and for you to practice acceptance that everything is unfolding in a divine way. And yeah, so we got to know each other, and we got married within 2 months, and we got pregnant within 5 months. So we really had a very, very fast path, but we were both ready. I mean, we both did a lot of work before, and she's a Course in Miracles teacher. I did my, spiritual path, so we feel very ready to take this on.
Wow. So did you know about twin flames beforehand? I mean, did you kind of figure it out that that's what was going on? I mean, you seem to know that, when we were talking before, you were saying, I knew that it was important for us to get together for the ascension of the planet. Like, where did that knowledge come from?
So that's funny too. It's another funny story. I was in Denver. I was in LA. I met her, and then I had a flight out to Denver and Boulder, which is where I connected with your community and your people. And in Denver, I went to a psychic lady, and she did a reading on our 2 charts. And I was like, you guys have I don't know, Venus in the ninth house or something like that, which means like, oh, there's a lot of like you guys maybe there's definitely some romance right there. And I was like, yeah, okay, romance, that's fine, as long as it's not marriage. You know, that was before we got married. And then she hands me these two malas and says, this one is for you. And it was, can't remember the stone, it was a white mala. And then this one is for her. And it had this big ball at the end, you know, where the tassel was of the mala. It had this big, like, two-colored ball. It was pink and black. And she said, this mala is for twin flames. And I came home, and not home. I came to her place back from Denver because my flight from LA back to Germany, like, went out from LA. So I flew from Denver to LA to give her the mala and, you know, hang out with her a couple more days before I flew back to Germany. And I said, here you go. Go find your twin flame. Because I was so afraid to have my twin flame and to have her as my twin flame because I knew of all the healing that was coming. All the subconscious beliefs and things that are going to get purified with me being with her.
Wow.
You know,
I think that's part of, yeah. Go ahead, Ken.
Oh, I was just going to say, Christian, you know, you were talking about, you were talking about that this was new for you. You're 25. Well, she's not 25. She was waiting for this for a while. So, and it was a growth process for both of you, but her growth process took a little bit longer. Would you say that's true?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So at the ripe old age, and she's just a kid at 40, but she was ready to embark upon this journey with you. It's such an inspiring story the two of you have.
Thank you. Yeah, we were both ready, and it's really funny because at the retreat that I met Maria, I was always talking to Spirit, and I was like, Spirit, I'm ready. Like, let me apply my energy and my talent and my skills to some sort of project that really helps this world. And you know, that project turned out to be that book, which then turned out to be me meeting my twin flame and my now wife. So it's really amazing to see how fast things can manifest when we're open to receive and when we're ready.
Well, yeah, it's like I've known like not a ton of twin flames, but I mean quite a few, and they say that when they came together, it was just like blessed, like everything just started happening very easily for them, and money started coming in, and like everything, it was like it was meant to be. It was just started to unfold very easily for them. That's supposedly what happens. Have you found that to be true? And yeah, go ahead.
I think generally the more we have healed already, the shorter, you know, the shorter we have to heal together, and the shorter we have to be, you know, separated from each other in that process. And also, I just feel that we all have our own curriculum, and we can't really say, okay, you know, now is the time. I didn't say I want to be my twin flame. I just said, you know, I just want to be open to the next relationship to be more of a committed relationship or not. I mean, you have to decide what you want, but, you know, the universe is going to deliver to you whatever you need in that moment. And for me, apparently, it was time. Like, it was time to meet somebody who was ready to be married and ready to have a child. So apparently I was ready too, even though, you know, my ego tells me otherwise. Child, are you kidding me right now?
Well, sometimes spirit hits you over the head with a 2x4 just to get your attention, and that's what it sounded. By the way, we have said a couple of times, or you have mentioned a couple of times about a book tour and a book. Well, it's somebody out there saying, "Would you tell us the name of the book already?"
Absolutely. So the book my wife wrote, her name is Maria Felipe, and the book is called Live Your Happy. And you can also find it online if you go to mariafelipe.org and check it out.
I'm curious, how did your families handle you guys getting married right away? Like, how has that adjustment been?
So my family, I feel like German people in comparison to Americans are a little bit more reserved, traditional. I don't want to say, conservative, but, just more, things are more, like, not as, I guess, innovative or new or, So
yeah,
for them it was very,
traditional.
for them it was sort of like a rupture in their world. It's like, what is our son doing? Or he doesn't really know what he's doing. And then also the child was like, oh my gosh, he really doesn't know what he's doing. And and,
no, apparently you knew what you were doing quite well. So congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
so what did you do? What did you do to deal with that?
Well, I just was very compassionate with them because in their world, life looks very different, and you can't explain to a person, you can't communicate on the same level with a person with the consciousness that you have. I can talk to them about twin flames and all that kind of stuff. They're like, "Are you fucking crazy? I mean, you just married a woman that's 15 years older than you from Cuba, who doesn't even speak your language. I mean, what do you think? Who do you think you are?" And so you just have to be very compassionate. They're healing too, and I know like they will see. Like the thing is, for them, they've never met Maria. They've only seen her on video, on like video chat, and they've never they won't see the birth of the child and the whole process of us coming together and all that kind of stuff. They're just not. They think it had to look a lot slower, and so for them, I'm sure that a big healing will occur for them too, unless they don't want to heal. Then that's their choice too. But I feel the child that we're gonna have is gonna bring so much joy to them too, and be like, there's nothing wrong with being 15 years apart. There's nothing wrong with form. It's like it's also what our relationship, what mine and Maria's relationship stands for. It's like form really doesn't matter. It's about the content that matters.
Would you say that, like, are there some benefits to the differences you guys have? I mean, are there some things that you've come to discover that you're kind of glad that those things are there?
Totally. Every difference I'm glad to be there, because every difference is an opportunity for me to heal and to extend my commitment to love.
That's beautiful.
Christian, I'm just go ahead, Amy.
Does it have the play? Does it have the intimacy and everything that you were looking for? Is it different than your typical relationships you've had?
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. And for me, I mean, it had also like, the things I was putting out there, play, romance, and shadow work. And also what I've noticed, like, it was exactly what I needed. Such a playful spirit. I mean, I feel older than her. She always says like I'm the old fart in the relationship. Because she acts like she's 16, and I'm just like, come on, can't you clean this up? You know what I mean? I feel like I don't know, maybe I have 1 or 2 lifetimes more on this planet than she has. But I feel like sometimes I'm the parent. It's really funny. It's like, hey, listen, babe, I really think about that. When you cook in the kitchen, just be careful about the knives lying on the kitchen counter without a plate under them, and that kind of stuff.
Christian, I wanted to ask you. You are a young man of 25 years old, but you sound so much more mature. I'd like to explore that with you a little bit, if I may. where did you come from, and where did your desire to understand what's going on and to ascend yourself and do the work, where did that come from? Where did that desire come from?
I'll tell you where I come from. Atlantis. No, just kidding. So I grew up in Germany, and my parents, they had a mushroom wholesaling business. So we were importing mushrooms from Eastern Europe and selling them in Germany. So my parents overtook that business from my grandfather, and my father, I feel he always wanted to do something different, but he overtook that business because, back then it wasn't really, in the 1950s, 1960s, it wasn't really a question whether you're going to make that or not, whether that's fun for you. You're just going to do it, And so I just experienced my father, especially my father, just being not very, very happy with himself. Like, we had a great business and, it brought in good financial returns, but he didn't really seem happy. And for me, that was always like, what is all this, like, hustle about? Seriously, I mean, I don't want, like, for me, I was like, no matter what I'm going to do later, it's going to be something that is fun. So, I went to school, always had good grades. I studied international business. I did an internship with Google because I thought, happiness has to be there. And then happiness wasn't at Google, so I quit Google and I started my own company. And happiness wasn't in my own company. So I kept on searching and moved myself and my company to Bali. And Bali is really where a lot of healing and surrendering, accepting, and the whole, like, spiritual path happened for me. And also after my studies and before Bali, I forgot that I did a road trip across the United States asking 1,000 people what makes them happy. What is happiness? What is happiness? What is happiness? What is it for you? And so I did this survey, and I asked people in 8 areas of their lives to rate their lives from 1 to 10, like in health, wealth, family and friends, playtime and hobbies, spirituality, physical environment, and then I asked them one more question, which was like, how would you overall, rate your happiness? And then I looked at the people who were the happiest out of these 1,000 people, and I looked at what they had in common. And what they had in common, they were above average in 3 categories: family and friends, spirituality, and playtime and hobbies. And these were 3 areas of my life back then when I was, like, after my studies, when I was 22, where I didn't invest any time. And I was like, playtime and hobbies, forget about it. I gotta make some success happen here. Family and friends, they're always there. Don't worry. And spirituality, what is that? So back then, that was a big wink from the universe to look at these 3 areas, which I did. And so I explored these 3 areas more closely in my life and see how I could improve them. And that's how I came, that's what brought me to the spiritual path.
So what's the name of the book that you and Maria are going to write together?
That's a good question. Well, I know the title of my book. My book is going to be maybe it's going to be our joint book. The title of my book is going to be Love is Louder. It's going to be my book.
Oh, that's great.
But we feel we're definitely gonna write a book together, which is gonna keep her main title, Live Your Happy, but in different areas of your life. Live your happy parenting, live your happy, business or money, things like that. Because it really, I feel we're at a place in this life and lifetime, and to recognize that it's like nothing outside of you will ever fulfill you. It all comes from within. And actually everything you create out on the outside in form, like a car or an apartment or whatever it is, like a phone, everything exists first in consciousness and then takes on form. So we need to be aware that the consciousness we cultivate, we foster, has to be one that is full of mindfulness, full of peace, and full of abundance. And as long as I don't really truly own that, how can I ever create peace on the outside?
That's true,
Yeah.
and that's incredible. I just wanted to comment that you said that the three areas of people's lives that if they said that they were above average happy were family and friends, hobbies, and spirituality. If you talk to somebody, and if you talk to hospice people, that talk to people that are on their deathbed, that have worked hard their whole life, have done what society tells them to do, have been successful, at the end of their lives, when asked to reflect upon their lives, the three areas that they don't feel good about: family and friends, didn't spend enough time with them, didn't love them enough, didn't explore spirituality, and didn't do what I wanted to do. I did what I had to do, and so therefore my life is a waste. And I applaud you for taking that at the ripe old age of 25, because you have the ability to now take that into yourself and to live your life to the fullest and live your life with passion. Congratulations, Christian. I'm amazed.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Kevin. And it's this is what I'm here for. You know, to inspire other people to go on that path. Because let me tell you, it's not an easy pill to swallow, because everybody around you does something different when you're at that age. Everybody is about success. Everybody is about the world, and I did the opposite. I think it's funny. Like if you wanna go fast in life, you always have to do the opposite. If you see people having children late because they want to make a career, have a child first. You know, go in the direction of your peers. You know, and if everybody is looking to have success, and then go and try to not make form matter so much in your life, and look within, because it's all already within. You know, you don't have to look anywhere. All the answers are within. Actually, the problem is the answer. You know, every problem contains the answer already within it. Now, how does that work? Well, it's very easy if you ask the question. For example, why does a child take my freedom away? Well, then within that question, or within that problem, let's say a child takes my freedom away. Within that statement is the answer, because a child truly does not take anything from you away. You just have to take the words apart. Like, how are these connected? A child has nothing to do with your freedom. It's in the mind that you define that freedom. And I feel that's the number one thing. Like, as soon as you cultivate a mindset that declares and gives the power back to you, and there's no such thing as victimhood or this happened to me, I manifested this for me. Especially like right now, I feel, for example, I don't have enough money. You know, I make about $2,000 a month, and we pay rent for $2,000, and we have cost of living. So in total, we have about $2,500 each month that we have to pay together, and I make about $2,000. So me as a father, as a male figure, I'm freaking out. I can't provide enough for everybody. I have Maria, who earns a little bit, but still, so. But there's a reason why I'm in that life situation, which is I chose the circumstances of not being a millionaire right now to have and be exactly what I am right now. So, for example, me being a millionaire, what would I do differently? Would I be so driven to spread like a spiritual message? Would I be so driven to, have a child and, balance all the things? I mean, you chose the situation you're in your life for a reason, and that is for you to learn, and that's what we need to come to realize.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you a couple of things, my friend. The first thing is that when that child comes into this world, speaking from a father's standpoint, it's not only not going to take your freedom away, it's an incredibly freeing, loving experience with somebody that you haven't met before, but when you meet them, you're going to be at their mercy because you're going to love them to death. there is something magical about having a child that is just amazing. So they're not going to take your freedom away. And the other thing is, you are going to be wealthy, young man, and you are already wealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and this is what happens when you put twin flames together, because they're like drawn to grow. They're drawn together and they're drawn to grow. And when they come together, they're that force to be reckoned with. They're the power couples of today. So they're a perfect example. And they usually do end up working together in some capacity. So that's really cool. Very inspiring.
Yeah. And I feel the more we progress, the more, I guess, I see a lot of my friends who are in their mid-20s and they have, found their partners and they're creating with them. They're co-creating, because we know that, the future of this planet is, a future of unity and stability, and that's based on family and harmony. And so that's why, often these twin flame relationships, at least, in my friend circle, start out with like, hey, let's do this together, and let's create, let's spread, let's share this message together.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
And you will.
Yay! I'm looking forward.
By the way, we've been talking with
you guys are gonna be the first ones we're gonna send our next book to.
Yay!
It's probably gonna be around parenting, because that is something that we feel is gonna help a lot of people to parent more consciously and a little bit more mindful. Yeah.
That would be really handy to have, because there's a lot of folks that are still in the old paradigm and they need to get into the new paradigm of how to nurture a child, how to make that child grow and be happy, and to experiment and to live life to the fullest, rather than fall into the cookie cutter of go get a job, go get college, go get a job, and then retire in 40 years, and then what have you done? Live life to the fullest with passion and with a strong desire to improve humanity. And that's what I think your child is going to do. Do we know if it's a boy or a girl?
It is a boy, and his name is gonna be Ari, A-R-I.
Yay,
that's a great German name.
Right.
So, by the way, we've been talking with, and I know, Christian, that and thank you for taking all this time. You have got to go. You've got a life you have to go live now. And we've been talking with Christian Mauerer. He is in Southern California. He is a twin flame, as is Maria, his other twin flame. And Amy, thank you so much for bringing Christian to the show. She is remarkable.
Yeah, I meet the most incredible people, I got to tell you.
Yes,
yeah,
you
really
do. And Christian, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we close this podcast?
Well, I would like to add where people can find me and my wife, because, in case they're interested in anything I do or she does. So you can find my wife, Maria Felipe, who wrote Live Your Happy, online under mariafelipe.org, O-R-G. And you can find myself under Christian with CH, and then my last name, which is Mauerer, MAUERER.com. And I assist people in their online presence and digital marketing. So if you're, making the planet a better place and need some sort of digital help, I'd love to support you. And I'm always here.
Amy, any closing thoughts?
That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you, Christian. Thank you so much. You've been a good friend, and this has just been a really great talk, very inspiring. And this is the time that it's happening. This is a very exciting time on the planet. So,
absolutely.
Best of luck to you guys, and keep me posted on the books and everything. That's awesome.
Yeah, anytime, absolutely, yeah. And it was really, really nice to be here and share my little message, as we all have a wonderful message to share with the world.
Well, you're such a great example of. Oh, sorry. You're really such a great example of what I think that the masculines are turning into. I mean, this is what we're coming to. We're coming out of the old paradigm and the way that men are supposed to hold their feelings back, and they're supposed to do as they're told, and all of that old stuff. It's just really cool to see men like you evolve and break free. So thanks for being that example.
You're welcome.
Especially at the ripe old age of 25. I'm just so jealous. You have no idea. You've been listening
I have no idea, trust me.
You've been listening to The Satori Show with your host, Amy Satori. Go to amysatori.com, and you can find out more about her. You can book a reading with her, and we're going to talk about more of that in future podcasts. So I hope that you'll stay with us. By the way, if you want to listen to other podcasts, go to thesatorishow.podbean.com, and you can listen to all 26 or 27 or 28. There's a bunch of them up now, and people are finding them all over the world. So we appreciate your time. Thank you very much for being with us today. Have a great day, everybody, and do something nice for yourself. Do something nice for somebody else. And remember, your heart is free. Have the courage to follow it. We'll see you next time on The Satori Show. You've been listening to The Satori Show. Please visit Amy's website, www.amysatori.com, to find out more about this incredible talent. The views expressed during this podcast are those of the host, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of management or the owners of this podcast. What you need to know is that Amy is a wonderful teacher, guide, and communicator for the unseen world. What she does not pretend to be is a doctor, fortune teller, seer of world events, or predictor of what is to come. What Amy presents is real, based on her understanding of the world and communication with that unseen world. As always, you're free to decide for yourself as to what to believe. Regardless, we love and accept you completely just as you are. And thanks again for listening to The Satori Show.